IPMNation.com.
This is Nick Peno from LC Shows, and you're listening to Local Outbreak on IPMNation.com and 100.1 The Planet.
Local Outbreak on IPM Nation and 100.1 The Planet. This is Matt from IPM Nation. We're here at the studio at 50 Canal Street in downtown Laconia, New Hampshire. TheStudioNH.com is a website if you want to check it out online. And please come down and say hello to Melissa, buy lots of stuff. It's a really great place, funky little gift shop and art gallery. And also we're sponsored by Central NH Events. If you need a DJ for your event, you can go to centralnhevents.com. And, of course, Tweak Sound and Mastering. If you need some audio production done, tweaksound.com is a website. Mr. Matt Marcil, another individual who helps make this show possible. And of course, Ryan LeMay at Sonic Wallpaper, if you need some music lessons. And, he's helping to provide music lessons for kids who couldn't otherwise afford them, which is very cool here in the Laconia area. And we're also doing our monthly shows now at Inspire Music, which is in Franklin, and Zach DeFosse. Great working with him. And we have returning into the show tonight for his third appearance on Local Outbreak. The first one, he was by himself, and the last one, he was with a certain individual who we were having a conversation about off-air. But making his third appearance on the show tonight, Nick Peno from LC Shows. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. And yourself?
It's still called LC Shows?
Still LC Shows.
Okay. So you are a promoter.
Yep.
So you are not, have you ever, I'm sure I've asked you this before, but have you ever played in a band, or have you always just done promoting?
It was many years ago, but things didn't work out, so now I'm been booking shows almost 8 years strong. So
LC Shows is I mean, you've gone through a lot of changes over the years, right? I mean, you did work with Scott for a while.
We did, yep. We've worked with a couple different promoters, actually.
When did it, so it started 8 years ago?
Yeah, just about. May of 2008 was when we began. It's
impressive because a lot of people who try to do what you do in the local scene don't last that long. I mean, 8 years is a long time.
It is. Unfortunately, the scene's not that great right now, and a lot of people losing money, and the first time they lose money, they run off. Right,
yeah. I mean, when you're a promoter, and I know from, I mean, I saw it up close. I interned for, it's been a long, I don't know if you know Joe Fletcher. I mean, he left the area a long time ago.
I'm not familiar with him. No.
Concerts North was his company. They used to do the shows at Meadowbrook. I think they were there when Meadowbrook first opened. And I interned for him when I was in school. And I got to see up close how, it's kind of a gamble. It really is. I mean, you can do really well and you can lose money, and
it really is,
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason there's no all-ages music venues left in New Hampshire is because, they just can't afford to operate nowadays with the way things are.
Yeah. I just found out a couple of months ago that the Sad Cafe had closed.
Yep, the Sad Cafe's gone. I know Ground Zero's gone.
Yep, I ran into Christian and Star from Ground Zero a couple months ago, too. Or maybe it might have been more like, I think it was about six weeks ago. I guess, they're totally out of the business now, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, they're great people. I still stay in contact with them. They kind of helped us get our start, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll talk about all that further, but you brought some tunes to play tonight. Who do you want to open the show with?
Let's do Anna Sapphira, Man of War.
Anna Sapphira, they've been on the show, I think, at least 2 or 3 times over the years. Great band. They've been at it a long time.
Yeah.
Because they were actually one of our first guests, and we've been doing this. We're in year 6 of Local Outbreak now, so
yeah, they're one of the few that have stuck around for quite a while.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you have something coming up with them? You have
yeah, they're actually going to be. Well, we're in Revere, Mass, at Sammy's Patio on February 19th, and we'll also be at UVH in Derry, New Hampshire, on February 20th with them.
I think you said that wrong. I think it's Revere.
Revere.
That used to be. I was in a couple bands that used to play. There was a place in Revere called the Jump Off. Do you remember the Jump Off?
I've never heard of that, actually.
Okay, yeah.
The only place I know of Sammy's Patios, and it's actually going to be our first time down there.
Yeah, the Jump Off didn't last too long, but yeah, we used to joke about it. It's in Revere. All right, so we'll play this. So this is Anna Sapphira. What's the name of the song again?
Man of War.
Man of War from Anna Sapphira, brought to us courtesy of Nick Peno from LC Shows here on Local Outbreak on IPM Nation and 100.1 The Planet.
IPMNation.com.
Local Outbreak on IPM Nation and 100.1 The Planet. This is Matt from IPM Nation. We're here at the studio in downtown Laconia, and we're here tonight with Nick Peno of LC Shows. And Nick is a promoter, and it's one of the things I like about having a promoter on the show, or some of the other folks that we've had who aren't currently playing, aren't in bands, but are working in a different side of the scene, is it's interesting to kind of get a different perspective of someone who's not actively playing, but rather. Do you ever get tempted to start up a band or join a band again?
I do. I still have all of my bass equipment.
Do you? Yeah.
I'd love to play again. It's just finding that right project.
Yeah. So I want to ask you about. So why do you think it is? Because we were talking before the break about the scene and how there aren't any all ages shows or aren't any all ages rooms anymore. And when I was talking to Christian, when I ran into him I think it was about 6 weeks ago, he was saying that he thinks the problem is the internet because when he had Ground Zero, or when I first met him, and probably you as well, this Cafe Eclipse back in Concord in those days, kids would come out to the shows, and it wasn't even necessarily, they didn't have to necessarily even be fans of the bands who were playing. It was a social thing. It was something to do, somewhere to hang out. And now, the way Christian put it, he said now they want to hang out on Facebook and on Skype. They don't need to go out to get together. They can just hang out with each other online, basically.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest problems. I mean, social media, it's a good tool for promotion, but I think it's also hurt us as well.
It's a double-edged sword, yeah. Because you're right. I mean, on the one hand, there is that positive. It's a great tool for promotion. But, I mean, it's probably, do you think it's do you still do any flyering, or do you just kind of leave that to online now?
We do flyering. We actually just got 40 flyers for the upcoming shows in February, and we still go around and do it. But that's the other thing where promoters go wrong. They don't go out and flyer. They think just posting online is going to get people out there.
Yeah. So you think flyering, because I know in conversations I have with promoters, a lot of them tell me they don't think there's any point in flyering, but you think it still works?
It does to an extent. I mean, there's no real way to tell how well it works.
Right.
You got to try to utilize all the tools to get the word out there.
Yeah. So the shows that you're doing, are they all ages shows, or are some of them? Okay.
Yeah, UVH in Derry, it's actually just a small hall, holds like 300, and that's all ages. There's no alcohol, and that's a main part of what we do. The show down in Mass is actually going to be a 21-plus show, and we haven't had one of those in a while.
Oh, okay. So what's the secret? Like, how do you, because the all ages rooms don't work anymore. We lost a couple of the good ones that we had. But obviously you can still successfully put on an all ages show. So what's the secret? Is it that you have to, I'm gonna guess, and tell me if I'm right. It's an educated guess, but do you have to put on a show with bands that are going to draw, and it's more like you're trying to draw a specific audience for that headliner rather than approach it like, these kids need something to do, so hopefully they'll show up to see some live music? Or
yeah, that is a part of it. A lot of it is actually where we're booking at halls, places that wouldn't normally host shows.
Yeah.
Is, we start off our first couple shows, they don't really always go that well.
Yeah.
But we focus on production. We make that an important key, make sure everything's sounding good, looks good. And we basically build a reputation of building that place into a venue.
So does part of it then just come down to quality over quantity?
Really, I think so, yeah. You got to have good quality or nobody's going to come back.
Okay. Do you even, because we were talking too about how a lot of people get burnt out doing what you're doing. Do you have any real competition currently? I mean, I don't know who else is even trying to do all ages shows right now.
Not really.
I mean, if you do, I'm not asking you to mention names because you don't want. There's no point in promoting your. But I mean, is there anyone really trying to do what you're doing?
There is one person who recently got back into the scene.
Okay.
Back in May of last year.
Yeah. Okay.
We did a big 2-stage 30-band fest in May, and that was out at the Dover Elks Lodge.
Oh, you did that with him?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he kind of, after that, we went our own separate ways, and he started booking his shows, and we are working out of the same place. However, we're trying to take UVH and turn it into an actual venue.
Yeah. Okay. Was there a certain point where you began to notice it was getting more difficult to draw all ages crowds, or has it just kind of been a gradual thing over the years?
Kind of just over the years, you know.
Yeah.
Crowds kind of died off. You know, you have one show that does really well, and then your next show might not do as well.
Yeah.
So it's all about getting the bands to work together, because a successful show happens when the bands work together to promote the show, the promoter works together. If you're not both working together, you're probably not going to have a good show.
Right. What are some of the things that you see bands not doing that they should be doing?
You know, I don't ever see them really utilizing social media. That's a big tool.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's no real way to know that a band is promoting outside of, unless you see them doing it on social media.
Right. Yeah, or unless they're flyering, which
they're
if you
probably see them flyering,
which they're probably not most of the time. Yeah.
No, we did have one group the last show though. They really took it hard. You know, it was actually one of their first shows.
Yeah.
And they went out, flyered, and they showed me that they mean business.
Who was it? Let's give credit where it's due.
Dive Team, actually.
Oh, good. We're gonna play something from them later. Good. Yeah. Are there, I mean, what's kind of the criteria for the bands that you book at these shows? I mean, I assume you don't just, book anybody who contacts you and say, hey, can we get on one of your shows?
Not usually. I mean, basically the minimum is you got to have some type of quality recording.
Yeah.
Without that, we always welcome first-time bands, but you got to have at least, some recording so we know what your sound is like.
Yeah. Do you work with a lot of nationals?
We do. We try to put on like a bunch of local shows and then put like at least one national on each show.
Okay. Who are some of the nationals that you've worked with that we know?
It Lies Within. They're from Flint, Michigan. Phineas from California. My Heart to Fear. They're from, I believe, Pennsylvania.
Okay. What's the biggest show that you've ever done? I know I've asked you this question before, but it's been a couple years since I've interviewed you, so that it's the answer may have changed. What's the biggest show you've ever done?
Yeah, in the recent years, it's probably been back in November. It was the Paramedic, Dive Team, and a couple other locals. Yeah, and that was a Tuesday night that drew close to 100.
Really? Good. Are most of your shows on the weekends, or?
Most of them are. I mean, it seems as of late they've been on Sundays or even weekdays, but we are getting back into doing the weekend shows, Friday, Saturdays.
Okay. Did you ever do shows at Millie's in Manchester?
We had one show there, but let's say
because they're not doing live music anymore.
No, that was an interesting show.
Is it because of you? Did you ruin it, Nick?
I think I did. I messed it all up. I brought some nice grindcore bands in there, and the owner wasn't too appreciative.
Did you really? You brought grindcore bands? Yeah.
Wasn't too appreciative.
Peter wasn't feeling it?
No.
It's hard to please him, though. Like, it's like... there's been hip hop shows there too where he's been like, where he actually said to me once, he's like, because there was one that I was there for, and he's like, I don't like this crowd, and it's like, well, they're spending money, so what don't you like about them?
Yeah, I mean, as long as there's people there and they're spending money, who cares?
So what happened with the grindcore show? Did it go all right, or was he just?
It went all right, but I don't think he really took to it, and especially when moshing started.
Millie's isn't necessarily the room for that.
No.
Does that ever? Do you ever get nervous with the moshing? Because something could go wrong.
At times it can. I mean, the bigger the crowd, the more you gotta kind of watch it. We've never really had any issues. We've always had really respectful people who come out and get in the pit. If somebody falls down, there are people right there picking them up. But it is a danger.
That's what a lot of people don't understand about moshing too, is that if it's a good crowd, it's not, because some people from the outside, they think it's violence. That's what they see, and it's not really what it is. Like you were saying, if it's a good, respectful crowd, if somebody falls, people stop and pick them up, and no one's getting their face stomped on or anything. That's not the idea.
No. I mean, people aren't out there trying to hit each other. You do get those people, those hate moshers that do go out to try to hurt people, but
but it's rare.
It is. We haven't really had any problems that I can think of in the years.
Yeah, good. Do you work with a lot of the same bands over and over, or do you try to keep it really? Do you try to make each show really unique?
I try to mix it up. I try not to bring back the same groups. Too close together.
Yeah.
There's, there are a lot of new bands though we have started working with.
Who are some of your favorites to work with?
I definitely like Anisphira.
Yeah.
It Lies Within. They're probably one of my all-time favorites.
Really?
So
yeah.
I just recently in August went down to Hartford, Connecticut to see them, and then about 2 days later we took a trip down to Harrisburg.
Yeah.
It's good to get out different markets and build your connections.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anyone that like I said, you've been doing this a long time. Is there anyone that you've worked with recently who you worked with way back when you first started, where you really have that long-term relationship?
Unfortunately, there's really no groups that are really out there since we started.
Yeah, a lot of bands come and go.
Yeah, Shot Heard Around the World was the most recent one to go. 10 years.
Okay, yep, I remember them. Yep. Well, why don't we play another track? You brought some tunes. What do you want to play next?
All right. Let's play Dive Team. It's Periodot.
That's the name of the song. What is it? Periodot?
Yeah.
Okay. From Dive Team. All right, cool. Yeah, these guys I'm not familiar with at all, so this will be good to hear here on we'll play that now. And we're chatting with Nick Peno from LC Shows. We'll come back and chat with him in a bit after this track from Dive Team here on Local Outbreak on IPM Nation and 100.1 The Planet.
Across my bed, I try to alone with my IPMNation.com.
Local Outbreak on IPM Nation and 100.1 The Planet. This is Matt Connarton at the studio in downtown Laconia. We're chatting with Nick Peno from LC Shows. And what does LC stand for, by the way?
Last Chance.
Oh, that's right. Because was it originally Last Chance Booking and then the name changed?
Yeah,
or?
it was
Okay.
Last Chance Booking, and then we kind of shortened it up. You
Okay.
know. We started doing more than just booking.
I remember now. Okay. Yeah, what else? So are you doing other things currently other than the shows, or do you offer, I'm starting to remember now, do you offer currently other artist services like management?
We do offer management, tour driving.
Tour driving?
Yeah, we'll take you out and we'll get you to all your shows.
That's a good service. So you're like a tour Uber or something.
Yeah. Tour Uber. You want to go on the road? Just give me a call.
Yeah. There you go. So are you, as far as the shows that you're doing, are they just within New Hampshire, or do you venture out of the local market at all? Or
Generally, they're just in New Hampshire. We bring artists from across the country to New Hampshire, but in February, that's going to be our first time having a show outside of New Hampshire.
Okay. Wow. Cool. So do you, how do you keep going with this? Because like I was saying, a lot of people get burnt out. Do you ever kind of question, like, if you have a show that doesn't go well, because like we said, it's always a gamble, and there's a lot of external factors too that you can't control, like weather, for example, especially this time of year.
This time of year, we kind of slow things down, but
Yeah.
recently this year we haven't really slowed down too much.
It's been an easy winter so far.
Yeah.
Thank God. But how do you ever have thoughts of doing something else, or do you just kind of keep going?
I actually, back in October, we had a show that made me think, why do I do this?
No kidding.
It's something that I do for the love, not for money,
Yeah.
but because it's what I love to do.
But you do have to make a living, and you got a family and whatnot. So I assume those considerations come into that. But I'm sure that when you have a show that goes well, like the one you were talking about in November, then that probably
that reminds me why I still do
why
this.
you still do it. Yeah. Do you think about expanding into other avenues within the music industry, or
we've kind of looked into that.
Yeah.
We're working on possibly getting a new kind of all ages venue here in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Starting in the spring. And if that does end up happening, I'll probably end up learning to run the soundboard and how to run all of that equipment.
Right. Oh, cool. Yeah, that would be great, because right now, I don't think there's anything, is there? Now, without the Sad Cafe and Ground Zero, I don't think there is, unless there's one I don't know about.
There's nothing I know about. There's some bars, but nothing all ages.
Right. Yeah. Because there's got to be a way to make it work. How many shows do you do a year?
On average, we usually try to do at least 1 to 2 a month.
Okay.
If all works out, we'll start booking every Friday, actually, starting in the spring.
Oh, good. Okay. You're talking about the all ages room you're trying to, okay. Excellent. So do you work with other, you mentioned that big show that you did, with you said 2 stages with your,
like 30 bands.
Do you do that a lot? Do you try to work with other promoters to do like a big event, or?
I've tried it. Unfortunately, it hasn't always worked out in my favor,
Yeah. You ever do any festivals or anything, or? That's a lot of work.
Yeah, they are a lot of work.
Well, I guess the 2-stage show you talked about.
The 2-stage, that was a long day.
Yeah.
I got there, I think, at 7 in the morning, started setting up.
Yeah.
The show kicked off at 12, and I didn't get home the next day till 5 a.m.
Wow. Yeah. Have you ever done any other shows like that? Any big festivals or anything?
Not recently. We're We're actually planning something for the summer, though.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Because I know some promoters, too, that's where they really make the money is on a festival, and then everything else is kind of like just to kind of get them through. But if they do like an annual festival or something, that's really where they kind of, it's almost like what Black Friday is in retail. That's what kind of, keeps them going.
Yeah, we're actually working with another kind of promoter guy that helps bands find places to play.
Yeah.
And that's how we kind of set up this 2-date thing. And we're going to try for next year to make it like an annual thing and expand, get other promoters in, and try to do something the whole Northeast.
Yeah, yeah. What got you started doing promotion?
When I was playing for bands and it never worked out, I ended up building connections with playing for those bands, and I just decided to give it a shot because I love music. I didn't want to completely give it up, but with playing bands not working out, I had to find something else to do.
When you were in bands, were you always kind of the oftentimes in a band you'll have that one person who's kind of the business guy who kind of has to run things. I mean, were you that guy typically?
At times, I was one of the guys who, brought the big equipment in. The other guys get mad at me because they've got little practice amps, and then here I am with a big stack.
Right, yeah. When you were, I mean, was it a decision that you made? Like, did you say, okay, this isn't working out with playing in these bands, so now I'm going to do this? Or did you always kind of have it in the back of your mind that you were going to also start promoting shows?
Really, I never thought that this is where I was going to go.
Really?
I just kind of, when the bands weren't working out, I decided to just give it a go.
Yeah.
See what I could do.
When you started, what were you by yourself, or did you have partners?
I did have a partner.
Okay.
I think he left us in 2010, 2011.
Okay.
And ever since, it's been just myself.
Yeah. Do you, for the shows, do you hire people to work for you at the shows?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're actually, right now, we're in need of somebody to run the doors, but
yeah,
that's one job you don't trust to just anybody.
Right, yeah, handling the money, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Where should people go online to keep up with what you have coming up for shows?
Facebook.com/LC shows.
Okay.
That's the best place to keep updated with everything that's going on. And you can we have shirts now for $15 you can get at any of our live events.
Oh, cool. Do you sell advance tickets for most of these shows, or are some of them just door only?
A lot of them are advance sales.
Yeah.
You generally get those. You can either contact myself via the LC shows page, or for the event February 20th at UVH, you can get tickets from Dive Team, Proxy War. Those are the two right now that are selling the advance tickets.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, let's play another track from the tunes you brought tonight. What do you want to play next?
All right. Proxy War, Casus Belli, I believe is how you say it.
Let me look at it and see if I agree with your pronunciation.
Casus Belli.
Casus Belli? Cassius, maybe? Is it Cassius
I know
Cassis?
it's Casus. Belli is...
All right. So we're going to play this song by Proxy War, that courtesy of Nick from LC Shows, and then we'll come back and chat a little more and wrap up tonight on Local Outbreak on IPM Nation and 100.1 The Planet.
Tormented by myself, trying to walk to the key, trying to build my life for endless for insatiable pain. Cut the Achilles, leave them to bleed. It's what they deserve, especially me. Never in my way. Stand out and lock your doors. The pain and mercy will send chills. Do you speak? Stay silent, they'll hear you. It will hold your words.
A part of me is taking control, and I need some time to see. I'm losing my sight of reality, and it's making me crazy. Insanity is taking my soul, and I need you here with me. I'm losing my touch with reality. Why do these thoughts on me?
IPMNation.com.
Local Outbreak on IPM Nation and 100.1 The Planet. This is Matt from IPM Nation. We're here at the studios. We do the show every week at 50 Canal Street in downtown Laconia. And if you want to hear my previous conversations with Nick, of course, we do archive all the shows at IPMNation.com/local outbreak. And you can go all the way back to the beginning. So we are in our sixth, I can't say it. We're in year 6. I can't say the XTH combination of letters. I don't know why I attempted it just there. I got a little cocky and thought I could say it, but I don't know why. Nick, so what's the next big show that you have coming up that you want to make sure everyone knows about?
Definitely February 19th if you're 21 plus, down at Sammy's Patio in Revere.
Revere. That's have you done a lot of shows there? It seems like that venue's been around for a long time.
I believe it has, actually. This will be our first time. I'm hoping to get out there beforehand to check the place out.
Yeah.
I've never been there before.
Okay. So who's on that show?
That is Anna Sapphira, Dive Team, Crafter, I believe is the other one there.
Okay.
And then there's 2 other locals, To Live as Wolves. They're coming from New York.
To Live as Wolves?
Yeah.
That's a cool name.
There's that one, and then February 20th is the other one. It's at UVH in Derry, New Hampshire. That one is all ages. Its headlining is It Lies Within from Flint, Michigan. Anna Sapphira will be there. Dive Team, Proxy War. To Live as Wolves will also be there. And can't think of any others.
Okay, so that's a big show.
Yeah, it was a 7-band show, I believe, but
wow.
One band just dropped actually tonight. So
what time's that starting?
It starts at 6 p.m.
Okay. And that one's February 20th?
February 20th. It's $10 advance and $12 at the door.
Okay. And these are all on, if you go to facebook.com/LC shows, you can see all these.
Yeah, you can see all of the events.
Cool.
And get all of the details there, address, times.
Now, do you have anything already booked beyond that weekend, or are you just kind of focused on those 2 shows right now?
Right now, we're just focused on those. We'll probably come up with something in March. We actually have a meeting the beginning of February to find out whether or not things are going to work out at UVH, whether we're going to be there every week starting in April.
Oh, okay.
So if that happens, we'll start dedicating our time to April on.
Yeah. No, I hope so. That's great. Good for you. I think you'll make it happen.
Yeah. We've been pretty lucky. We actually have a 2 to 3 year plan in place right now. If we can get this settled in the next 2 to 3 years, we're looking to open up our own all ages music venue here.
Good for you. Good. That's great. And what about because we kind of assume with a show like this that most of our audience is probably musicians who are active in the local scene or in some capacity. If somebody's interested in getting on one of your shows, how should they reach? I meare you actively taking submissions from bands?
We are. You can email us. We actually just got a new email. It's lastchance2008@yahoo.com, or you can just hit us up on the Facebook page LC Shows.
Okay, fantastic. Nick, thank you so much. This has been great. I haven't seen you in a while. We used to work together at a certain
that
establishment
was
too.
Good
so
to see you. Good to see you again, as always.
I'm the one who hired you there, actually.
You did. I know. Then you disappeared shortly after.
Yeah, sort of. That's sort of what happened. Yes. So, what do you want to play to wrap up the show?
Gonna play "It Lies Within." It's called "Light the Way."
All right, fantastic. So this is Light the Way from It Lies Within, courtesy of Nick from LC Shows. We'll wrap up with that. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
There are things in life that you can never quit. Drown your demons in our feelings in a bit of faith. Be the one to dream, accept and pay the price. Turn a fantasy into reality.
IPMNation.com.